You spoke on going to Barnes and Nobles and whatnot. How important do you think it is for somebody to study the craft of which they're getting into?
The most important thing, like that's hands down the most important thing. Like they say 10,000 hours makes you blah, blah, blah. It's like I've probably, I don't know how many, I'm scared to know how many hours I've invested into what I do. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be an obnoxious amount where you're like, man, does it really equate to the money? You know what I mean? Like did I really, like, was it worth it? But like people look at, you know, so many things like, well, it's like I should just buy that and it'll fix my problem. And not do the background checks, not do the research. People just try to slide through too easily, and it's like those are the people that end up failing real quick. Like going in, trying things, going out, being an intern, do a job that doesn't give you credit for something. Like just getting coffee with someone can enlighten you in another different way. Like people hit me up all the time, like, hey, I want to get into shooting concert videos or whatever. I want to do what you do. Like, what can I do? And I'm like, well, first, and I probably won't talk to you ever again until you do it, is I've recorded over 3 days of interviews, at least in hours, with people that do what you just asked me about. And I talked to them at length and gave nothing but gems in every conversation. So listen to all those. Listen to every single one of those. You're not going to do nothing this whole week. I know it already. You're going to ask me a question, fiddle around on YouTube, and look at like, oh, how can I become blah, 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 blah. You're going to watch 4-6 minute videos, and then you're probably going to watch Netflix, and you're probably going to play Xbox, and you're probably going to go kick it with the homies. You're probably going to go out and get drunk. And in that same amount of time, you could have crushed 3 days worth of fire podcast content where I've literally gone above and beyond to dig for you, and it's there. But so many people just don't want to do it. And those people should go get other jobs because that's not where you're not supposed to be here then. Like this isn't your arena. Like my friends that are the most talented DPs, the most talented directors, producers, live and breathe the gear they use, the people they work with, the tasks they do. They live and breathe that. Like you have to be excited about that. You have to get up every single day and want to know every single thing you can. Something comes out, you want to learn about it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I see that it's extremely important to do your research on your craft, but oftentimes people try and skip it. So I'm glad you spoke about that from a videography standpoint because people just think that they want to shoot a Dark Knight, but they don't realize he got 100,000 hours.
$150 million in
Yeah.
budgets. Yeah.
And he got so much went into it. Because I look at our lives and say, you know how much like you doing in films of skateboarding to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, to finally being able to do it's like, man, this is like 40,000 hours.
Easy.
To equate me standing on stage. But going to that now, how was it? How first off, how did you get that break with the big artists or Beyonce or whatnot? And how did it feel doing stuff like being on the stage with this? Like, did you ever feel like, man, I might fall? What happens if I trip and fall walking backwards? You know, but you can. That's the first part of the question is how did you get that break?
When I did Q's tour, it was like they weren't offering me very much money, so it was like a risk for me, right? Like the one person I had involved in the company is like, I know we need you, but they don't know that they need you. We've never had anyone like you. Like, I need you to come through, do this on the low, blah, 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 blah. And to me, I had to like analyze the thing. I'm like, well, this is gonna, if I go hard on this, I know for a fact, they know, everyone knows this artist, blah, blah, blah. People will see my work and I'll probably get jobs beyond that because I work directly with this artist. So it was like a risk of me doing it and trying to parlay one job into 5 or whatever. So I did that tour, and then all these other things started happening after the tour. I built Black and Cream, all that stuff was cool. But then I guess B's company like had one of my homies at a production company referenced me for a position that they were looking for, and I think that they even watched one of Q's videos that I did, and then that ended up being something that got me in the door, and you know, I started working with them, which is crazy that one job where I took the L on a check, but some people right now they're so like hard-headed to think like, nah, I need to get my check, blah, blah, blah. They don't analyze opportunity, right? And in this industry, it's just stupid. It's like, I can't go walk into Best Buy tomorrow and be like, hey, I'm gonna buy this camera, but I'm gonna buy it for $100 instead of $3,000. And they just be cool with it. But people can come up to you and be like, I'm gonna pay you $100 instead of $3,000, you're gonna be cool with it. And we're all like, ugh. And we just do it. Because we have to. Because then if I have that name next to me, this brand will think I got paid tons of money, and then I can tell them they need to pay me tons of money, and then it works. You know what I mean? So it's crazy to think that ended up like getting me Beyonce. Coachella was crazy, like having to rehearse and do all that stuff that we did, and then go on stage, and I have like the main camera. I'm running up and down the stage. Like I would like lead her out to the B stage from the A stage. We had like a long platform that went out to the middle of the crowd. And so I had like choreographed moves, and I had this big rig with, heavy Alexa on it with cinema glass, like shooting it like it was a movie. Like it got nominated for 6 Emmys. But it's like, it was a lot of work. It was crazy. It was terrifying. The first song. The first song of the first show was like the most insane feeling I've ever felt in my legs. But it was dope.
Yeah, so I was just more or less thinking, because obviously somebody will look at that and say, oh, how do you get that opportunity? They don't see that the hours that go into it before.
Oh yeah, because there's everything that led into me learning how to interact with musicians, and then me going and doing Chris Brown's entire documentary that took 2 years, me doing Mary J. Blige's documentary that took us a year. I had done an entire doc on Lewis Howes, public speaker. And then I go and do all this stuff with like social content, and I started learning about social ad campaigns, and I direct all this stuff with EA Sports, and I did all this stuff. There's so many different elements that all bake into it. I did a whole tour. I understood what it's like to be an artist. I performed. What would I want if I was them? Okay, well, if I was them, I would want the newest, the best. How do I get that? Well, someone's got to tell me about it. So then when I came in, I just put in the work, and like, it wasn't like guaranteed or anything. I was like, I got booked for like a week, came back, and then at the end of the week, they're like, can you come back again? Can you come back again? And I kept getting rebooked for the week. And then at some point, I'm like, am I shooting like the Steadicam for the show? Like during the actual concert? Like we're rehearsing it like I am, but no one's told me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, I might be doing this. So it was crazy, man, just to see like the progression of it, but all of that background goes into it. It's crazy what you'll tie into it.
What was the biggest thing you learned touring with Schoolboy Q versus doing a Beyonce Coachella? What was one of the biggest things that you learned? Let's start with Schoolboy Q, then we can go to the Beyonce, and then you can use it as a compare and contrast.
So like Q's tour, I feel like I learned, it's a great question. I would say I learned, to me the most important thing was the content, was like creating something that no one's ever seen before to an extent. So when I get on the bus, I think a lot of people think that it's just straight turn-up parties, drinking, smoking, doing all this cool rapper stuff. But I was literally like constantly on my computer, constantly shooting and turning it into stuff, logging content, backing up things, shooting photos. Every show would get done, I'd be up. I learned quickly that you have to have a passion to create at an insane rate. Like I had content delivered like that. By myself, one-man band. The comments in the YouTube videos would be like, man, whoever this editing team is amazing. Whoever the production is behind this is so funny. Like they got a whole crew killing this thing on the tour, blah, blah, blah. Q's the biggest artist, he got a whole crew. I'm like, it's just me. I made it look like a crew. Like that's what I wanted. Everything that I ever touched, I wanted to make it look like it was bigger than it was. You know what I mean? Like, but that, I feel like that's what I learned, was that I had the ability to push myself to an insane rate for a long period of time, no matter what the cost is. It's almost like the world kind of shuts off around you. Same with Beyonce's thing. Like Coachella is like, we're going in, we're rehearsing, we're trying things, we're trying to build. And all I cared about was delivering the best possible version of me I could. How can I elevate them? You know what I mean? How can I elevate Schoolboy Q? How can I elevate Kendrick? How can I elevate Chris Brown? How can I elevate Mary, Q, B, J? Like everybody I ever worked with. How can I make whatever they're doing a stamp in time and iconic? You know what I mean? Like that's always my goal. So I think that goes both. That's the same answer for both of them. It's just like elevating your work ethic to an extent where you believe in yourself to be able to go. Like there's some times you just be tired. Like you're just like, oh man, like I can't do it again today. Like I need to. But then you find a way. You find a way to get back to it, whatever that is for you. Go to the gym, go to listen to some music, and all of a sudden you're right back into it.